Hello, and thank you for watching today's Northeast Regional Forecast. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Over the next 10 days, we are really headed toward a summer-like pattern across the eastern half of the United States, especially as we look at the days 6 through 10 time frame. That's talking about September 30th into the first few days of October. Watching the jet stream do something like this, a big trough in the west, ridge in the east. That allows summer-like warmth to return from the eastern Corn Belt into the Northeast region. It also sets up a battleground here along the dividing line here for the potential for repeated rounds of showers and storms as we head into next week. We see that here when we look at the precipitation forecast over the next 2 weeks. The next week, looking for that corridor here setting up from the Central Plains into the upper Midwest. Similar look as we head into week 2 across the Northeast region, keeping things close to average, perhaps above average in the week 2 time frame. And then over the next week or so, maybe some heavier precipitation off to the north. The last 24 hours, though, that is including some of that forecast, and that frontal boundary is what's going to bring some of that heavier precipitation across the northern portions of the Northeast region here over the next 24 hours or so, as we've watched a front kind of sing through the eastern Corn Belt up into the Northeast region over the last couple of days. Taking a look at the satellite picture here is the upper level low kind of spinning away across the Northeast region. Again, that bringing some heavier precipitation to northern portions of the Northeast region here as we head through the last 24 hours into the rest of today. Taking a look at the surface map then, here is that area of low pressure, that front extending off to the south. High pressure on the backside, but then by the time we get to Wednesday, we'll be watching another storm system kind of quickly making its way through the upper Midwest, perhaps bringing a chance of some showers and storms later in the week to the Northeast region. The next 3 days of severe weather forecast, you're not talking about any major severe weather threats across the Northeast region, although we are watching an area of significant severe weather possible as we head through the afternoon and evening today across Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. So quite significant severe weather risk as far as we consider by late September standards across parts of the upper Midwest, parts of the Corn Belt. The high-resolution AM model, that's going to handle some of the heavier precipitation across the north here, parts of New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, as we head through the rest of the day today as this thing kind of slowly lumbers out of the region. And then watching this next front approach from the west as we head into Wednesday night and Thursday, not producing the severe weather threat that we saw across the upper Midwest today, but still bringing a possibility of maybe some widely isolated light showers and storms. The heavier precipitation going to be found as you travel northward, areas off to the south perhaps left dry over the next few days. Taking a look longer at the GFS model, now we'll take a look at where we're headed beyond that, watching this first system depart here over the next 24 hours, then turning our attention to the west for this next storm system that brings the severe weather threat to the upper Midwest today. This moves through the area Wednesday night into early Thursday, perhaps bringing some light showers and storms. The chance going to be heaviest off to the north once again. High pressure on the backside brings beautiful weather to end the week, Friday and Saturday. And then we'll have to watch as we head into early next week for the potential for showers and storms again, developing along that battleground and perhaps riding the jet stream into the Northeast region as we head again into early next week. So really a fairly tame pattern for the Northeast region until we get into at least early next week. The total accumulated precipitation from the National Blended Model, and this again really going to start to hammer this region right here as we head into early to mid next week. Northern portions of the Northeast region perhaps tapping into some of the storm systems here, kind of blowing off that, riding the jet stream off to the east. As you head to the south, though, much drier. So portions of Pennsylvania, southern New York, and surrounding areas here perhaps remaining mostly dry over the next 7 to 10 days. And then you head off towards the north, perhaps the potential for several inches of rain across northern New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. That again, as we take a look at the pattern here, going to be switched to a very summer-like pattern, watching the jet stream flow as we head into early to next week, taking on this look. I drew this in on the temperature forecast. Here's your big trough in the west, ridge in the east. That's a summer-like pattern across the eastern half of the United States, setting up early to mid next week. And again, with the potential for storm systems developing across the upper Midwest, perhaps riding that into parts of the northern half of the Northeast region. The good news is this pattern doesn't look like it's permanent. Summer-like weather probably begins to wane as we head into the days beyond October 5th, 6th, and 7th. So it's a brief return to this summer-like weather. Looking at the next 5 days, rather cool across the northeast region with that upper level low spinning across the region on Tuesday, highs in the 50s and 60s. Warming up in the day on Wednesday, that front moves through Wednesday night into Thursday, bringing a reinforcing shot of some cooler temperatures, so back into the 60s for many of us, maybe mid 70s and near 80 degrees as you head to the south on Thursday, Friday. And then Saturday, we really start to warm back up, and then we crank the furnace up, heading on beyond that into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, with summer-like warmth returning to the region. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning ad forecast video, and I'll be back to talk about the Northeast region more in depth on Friday morning. Have a great day.